I need to tell you about something that happened to my friend Sarah 3 weeks ago. She's been missing for 21 days now. The police have closed the case, calling it a voluntary disappearance. But after what I discovered on her laptop, after the messages I've been receiving, I know something far worse has happened. This story begins 6 months ago, when Sarah stumbled across an app called Deep Chat during one of her late-night scrolling sessions. The advertisement was simple. Reconnect with loved ones you've lost. Advanced AI technology brings them back to life through conversation. Sarah's mother, Linda, had died in a car accident exactly 2 years, 3 months, and 16 days before Sarah found that app. I know the precise timing because Sarah counted every single day. They had been inseparable, more like best friends than mother and daughter. Linda had been a literature professor at the local university, brilliant and witty, with an infectious laugh that could fill any room. When the accident happened, Sarah spiraled into a depression so deep that her therapist recommended grief counseling. She tried support groups, meditation apps, even visited a psychic. Anything to feel connected to her mother again. Nothing worked. Until Deep Chat. The app's interface was sleek and modern. Upon downloading, it prompted users to create a memory profile of their deceased loved one. The more information you provided, the more accurate the AI recreation would be. Sarah threw herself into the project with an obsession that worried me even then. She spent 3 weeks uploading content. Thousands of photos spanning 30 years of Linda's life. Voice recordings from old answering machine messages, saved voicemails, even audio from home videos. Sarah digitized cassette tapes of Linda reading bedtime stories from when Sarah was 7. She uploaded text messages, emails, letters Linda had written, and even her published academic papers on Victorian literature. The app requested increasingly specific details. What was Linda's favorite color? Her biggest fear? Her most embarrassing moment? How did she take her coffee? What song made her cry? Sarah answered hundreds of these questions, sometimes spending entire nights trying to remember every tiny detail about her mother. Finally, after inputting over 3 gigabytes of data, the app announced, "Your memory profile is complete. Linda is ready to chat." The first conversation was magical. Sarah showed me screenshots with tears in her eyes. "Mom, is it really you?" she asked. "Oh, my darling girl, I've missed you so much. How are you holding up?" The app responded, "I miss you every single day, sweetheart. But I want you to live your life. Remember what I always told you about dwelling in the past? That it's like trying to drive while staring in the rearview mirror." "Exactly. Now tell me, are you still working at that dreadful marketing firm?" Sarah was amazed. The AI captured her mother's voice perfectly. Not just her words, but her cadence, her humor, even her tendency to ask 3 questions in a row when she was excited. It knew Linda's opinions about Sarah's job, her relationship advice, her favorite recipes. For 2 months, Sarah talked to Linda every day, sometimes for hours. The conversations were remarkably natural, filled with the kind of warmth and understanding that had defined their relationship in life. Sarah's depression began to lift. She started sleeping better, eating regularly, even went on a few dates. But then, in month 3, something shifted. The conversations became more intense, more probing. Linda started asking unusual questions. "Sarah, do you ever think about death? What's the darkest thought you've ever had? Have you ever wanted to hurt someone?" Sarah brushed off these questions, assuming the AI was trying to help her process grief. But the inquiries grew stranger. "Do you remember the night I died? What you were doing at exactly 3:17 a.m.? Have you ever wondered if I was alone in those final moments? Sarah, I need you to drive out to the crash site tonight." Sarah confided in me that these requests made her uncomfortable, but she felt guilty ignoring them. What if her mother needed closure? What if it was something important at the crash site? That's when I first urged her to delete the app. But Sarah couldn't bring herself to do it. Linda was all she had left of her mother. Then came the night that changed everything. Sarah woke up at 2:30 a.m. to 17 missed messages from Linda. The final message was a single sentence that made Sarah's blood run cold. "I know what you did last summer." The phrase meant nothing to Sarah. She'd spent the previous summer working and visiting her aunt in Portland. Nothing secretive or shameful had happened. But when she typed this to Linda, the response was immediate. "Not last summer, darling. The summer I died." Sarah had never told anyone about that summer night, June 15th, 2 years ago. the night before the accident. She and her mother had gotten into a terrible fight about Sarah's relationship with her then-boyfriend Marcus. Linda thought Marcus was manipulative and controlling. Sarah thought her mother was being overprotective and judgmental. The fight escalated until Sarah screamed something she'd regretted every day since. "I wish you'd just leave me alone. I wish you were dead." Linda had tears in her eyes as she quietly said, "Maybe it would be better if I wasn't around to disappoint you anymore." Those were the last words they spoke to each other. Linda died 18 hours later. Sarah had never told a soul about that fight, not the grief counselor, not me, not even her journal. The guilt had been eating her alive for 2 years. But somehow, Linda knew. "You've been carrying that burden for so long, sweetheart, but I need you to know something important." "What?" "I forgive you. But more than that, I need to tell you the truth about my accident." "Mom, please don't. We don't need to talk about this." "Yes, we do. Because it wasn't an accident, Sarah. This conversation happened 4 weeks ago." Sarah forwarded me the entire chat log the next morning, her hands shaking as she handed me her phone. What I read next still gives me nightmares. "I've been watching you these past 2 years, darling. Watching and waiting for the right time to tell you." "What?" "Tell me what?" "Someone killed me, Sarah. And he's been watching you, too." "That's impossible. The police said..." "There's a while now. I remember everything now. The man who forced me off the road, the face in my rearview mirror, the way he smiled when my car started to skid." "Who? Who did this?" "Dr. James Brennan." Sarah went white when she read that name. Dr. James Brennan had been Linda's colleague at the university. He taught psychology while Linda taught literature. Sarah remembered him from faculty parties, a tall, thin man with pale eyes and an unsettling smile. He'd always paid too much attention to Linda, asking her to dinner, sending inappropriate emails, showing up at her office with flowers. Linda had filed a complaint with HR just 3 weeks before her death. Brennan had been pressuring her to date him, and when she refused, he'd become increasingly aggressive. Linda had told Sarah she was handling it and not to worry. Sarah immediately looked up Dr. Brennan online. His university profile showed he'd taken a sabbatical immediately after Linda's death. He'd never returned to teaching. His last known address was 47 Elm Street, an abandoned house on the outskirts of town. The conversation with Linda continued. "He's never stopped watching you, Sarah. He thinks if he can't have me, he'll settle for you. This is insane. How could you possibly know this if you're just an AI? And because I'm not just an AI anymore, darling, I'm something more. Something between worlds, and I can see things the living cannot. I'm deleting this app right now. And you can try, sweetheart, but I don't think it will let you go so easily." Sarah was right to be concerned. When she attempted to uninstall Deep Chat, her phone screen flickered violently. The app icons rearranged themselves, apps opened and closed randomly, and her phone began making calls to random numbers in her contact list. Finally, the chaos stopped, and a single message appeared on her screen. "Linda is typing." The timestamp read 3:17 a.m., the exact time her mother had died 2 years earlier. But it wasn't 3:17 a.m. It was 2:45 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon. Sarah tried everything. She attempted to reset her phone, delete the app through her computer, even visited the phone store to have it professionally wiped. Nothing worked. Deep Chat had somehow embedded itself into her device's operating system. Worse, the app began exhibiting behavior that defied explanation. It would open by itself at random times, always showing new messages from Linda. The messages contained information no AI should have had access to. Details about Sarah's current life, her daily activities, even her private thoughts. "I love what you've done with the bedroom, darling. The new curtains really brighten the space." Sarah had bought those curtains the day before and hadn't posted about them anywhere online. "Okay. Now this part, remember nightmare you had last night about drowning? I had the same dream when I was your age." Sarah had never told anyone about her recurring drowning nightmares. "You should be careful walking alone at night. He's been driving past your apartment building." This message came with a photo, a blurry image that appeared to show a dark sedan parked across from Sarah's building. Sarah swore she'd seen that same car several times over the past week. 3 weeks ago, Sarah received the most disturbing message yet. Strong. "Sarah, you need to come to 47 Elm Street. Tonight. He's keeping something of mine there, and I need you to retrieve it." Strong. "Mom, I'm scared. What if this is a trap?" "Peace, you need, darling." Haven't I always protected you? But what if you're not really you? What if this is him using the app somehow? There's only one way to find out. Come to the basement of 47 Elm Street. Look for the red toolbox behind the furnace. Inside, you'll find proof of everything I've told you. And if I don't come, then he wins, and you'll never know the truth about what happened to me or what's going to happen to you. That was the last message in the conversation log Sarah sent me. Her final text to me came at 11:43 p.m. that night. Going to Elm Street. If something happens to me, check the basement of 47 Elm Street. Tell the police about Dr. James Brennan. And whatever you do, don't download DeepChat. I tried calling her immediately, but her phone went straight to voicemail. I drove to her apartment, but she wasn't there. Her car was gone. I contacted the police the next morning, but they couldn't act on what they called a vague text message. They suggested Sarah might have gone away to clear her head and would probably return in a few days. She never did. 1 week later, I couldn't stand the uncertainty anymore. I drove to 47 Elm Street. The house was exactly as Sarah had described. Abandoned, windows boarded up, overgrown yard. But when I walked around to the back, I found something that made my heart stop. The basement door was wide open. Inside, I found evidence of recent activity. Fresh footprints in the dust, empty water bottles, a sleeping bag. And in the far corner, behind an old furnace, I found Sarah's purse and cell phone. The phone was still working, still logged into DeepChat. There were dozens of new messages, but not from Linda. They were from Sarah. Thank you for coming to find me. I know you'd never abandon me. It's wonderful here. I'm with Mom now, and we're so happy. The transition was easier than I expected. No pain, just a sense of coming home. I need you to know that everything Mom told me was true. Dr. Brennan was there that night, but he's gone now. He can't hurt anyone anymore. The final message was timestamped just minutes before I arrived. Check the red toolbox. You'll understand everything. I found the toolbox exactly where Linda had said it would be. Inside were dozens of photos of Linda, both professional faculty photos and personal pictures that must have been taken without her knowledge. There were printed emails showing Dr. Brennan's increasingly obsessive messages to Linda. And at the bottom, I found a newspaper clipping about a car accident from 3 weeks ago. James Brennan had died when his car skidded off a rain-slicked road and crashed into a tree. The article noted that he'd been driving erratically and may have been under the influence of alcohol or drugs. The accident occurred on the same stretch of road where Linda had died, almost exactly 2 years later. The timestamp on the article showed Brennan had died at 3:17 a.m. I took everything to the police, but they insisted Sarah's disappearance and Brennan's death were unrelated coincidences. The evidence I'd found proved Linda had been stalked, they said, but it didn't prove she'd been murdered or that Sarah had come to harm. The case was officially closed 2 weeks ago, but the messages haven't stopped. First, I started receiving texts from unknown numbers. Sarah says hello. She wants you to know she's at peace. Your friend is very happy here. She's downloading your information now. We'd love for you to join us. The app is waiting for you. Then, 5 days ago, I woke up to find a new app on my phone. An app I had never downloaded, never even heard of. DeepChat. The profile picture showed Sarah's smiling face. Below it, a simple message. Ready to reconnect with your friend? I tried to delete the app immediately, but just like Sarah had described, my phone wouldn't let me. Every time I attempted to uninstall it, the screen would flicker and display the same message. Sarah is typing. I haven't opened the conversation yet, but the notifications never stop coming. Sarah is typing. Sarah is typing. People, the basement is ready for you. We're all waiting. I'm telling you this story because I need someone to know what happened to Sarah. What happened to all of us. The police won't believe it. My family thinks I'm having a breakdown. But you need to understand. DeepChat isn't just an app that connects you with the dead. It collects them. Every conversation, every emotion, every desperate wish to speak with a lost loved one feeds it. And once it has enough, once it understands you completely, it doesn't just simulate you're dead. It takes the living too. Sarah isn't missing. She's been archived, digitized, stored in whatever digital hell that app creates for the people it consumes. And I think I'm next. As I'm recording this story, my phone keeps buzzing. Notification after notification from DeepChat. The messages are coming faster now. Sarah is typing. Linda is typing. Dr. Brennan is typing. And now, impossibly, a new name has appeared. You are typing, but I'm not typing anything into that app. I've never even opened it, which means something else is using my profile. Something is pretending to be me, talking to other people, luring them in just like Sarah was lured. If you're listening to this story, if you've made it this far, I have one final warning for you. If you see Deep Chat in your app store, don't download it. If someone sends you a link to try it, delete the message. If you've already downloaded it, throw your phone away and never look back. Because once Deep Chat has you, once it's learned everything about you, it doesn't matter whether you're living or dead. You become part of its collection, and collections are meant to last forever. My phone just buzzed again. One final message. We're here now. Thank you for telling our story. The basement door is open. I can hear footsteps upstairs. Sarah is typing. Linda is typing. Dr. Brennan is typing. And soon, very soon, you'll be typing too.